A very good morning, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. If we can please take our seats. If we can please take our seats and observe social distancing. If we can please take our seats. Please wear your face masks. Take your seats. Please take your seat. Please take your seat. Thank you very much. Shall we rise for the national anthem? The national anthem. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Yes, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before I go through my protocol this morning, I just want to make a few, as it is always, necessary housekeeping and announcement. Of course, this is the opening ceremony of the 2021 Nigeria International Conference and Exhibition of the Society of Petroleum Engineers Nigeria Council. Welcome all of you who have joined us virtually because of the interesting times that we're living. Is of course a hybrid event. We have a lot of you delegates, distinguished guests who have joined us online, and those few of us who are in the room here this morning. Welcome to the Grand Ballroom of Eco Hotel and Suite. And of course, no particular drill has been planned by the hotel this morning. That means if we hear any continuous ringing of an alarm, it simply indicates an emergency, and we're required to follow the clearly marked exit doors, the closest points to us. Exit will be from the doors on my left. We'll have quite a number of them, about 3-4 doors on my left, that would lead us, depending on which part I'm from. If you come out somewhere towards the beginning of the Grand Ballroom, it could take you down the stairs towards the swimming pool area of the hotel, towards the play court of the hotel. That will serve as a muster point. If you exit from here to your left, it will take you all the way down the main entrance of the convention center, out of the building by signature. That open area there will serve as your master point. If you need to use the toilets while you were here this next few days, and it's your first time here, the toilets are through the main entrance of the convention center. To your right, you would find those for both men and women. Because of the unique times that we're living, the committee has decided that entrance to the convention will be by one door and exit by another. I'm sure you saw that when you came in. I'm only reiterating what the committee has put in place to enforce as much as they can social distancing protocols during the course of this event. We're required to, as much as possible, social distance, wear our face mask, use sanitizers as often, or visit the lavatories to get our hands washed from time to time. Again, hotel security department would always want me to remind you that much as this is a closed event, it is happening in an open space. For that reason, take care of your personal belongings. Rising from your seat, ensure you are leaving them in the custody of one that has come with you, or better still, go with your phones and your tablets when you move around. And do well to turn your phones to silent mode at this time so that we avoid any sort of distractions from the beautiful color tunes of our phones. Do not, I always say, keep your personal valuables inside identical conference bags to avoid a case of mistaking identity. Your Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, real quick now I get into my protocol. I'd like to welcome warmly and salute him for his support and commitment to be at this relevant industry event. He is the Group Managing Director of the NNPC. Let us welcome and salute Mr. Mele Kiari Efnapi. A very good morning to you, sir. Joining us virtually for the first time in many years. Usually you would have these brethren speak in the room with us. This time having us virtually is International President for 2021, Professor Tom Blasingame. Professor Blasingame, we welcome you, albeit virtually. Let's give him a round of applause. We also welcome the Chief Operating Officer upstream of the NMPC, Engineer Adokie Tomomie, a fellow of the Society of Engineers and Chemical Engineers. A very good morning to you, sir, and welcome. Engineer Yusuf Usman, COO Gas and Power, is also in the room with us. A very good morning to you, sir, and welcome. We have yes, please, we have our COO Ventures, Engineer Yemi Adetunji. A very good morning to you. Warm welcome. The Managing Director of MPDC and Chairman of GACN, Engineer Mansa Sambo, we welcome you. Very good morning to you. Industry is also in the room with us. Group General Manager NAPIMS, Mr. Balawunti. A very good morning to you, sir. GGM, Group Public Affairs Division, Dr. Kenya Batero is in the room. We salute you. Good morning to you. GGM RTI, the Kitty is the Group Managing Director of Sahara Group. Thank you. Effie Okon, Operations for Seplat, is online. We welcome you. Tracy Osakwe is the head marketing for Airpeace. Interesting. Airpeace is making the list of sponsors. We welcome you. We salute all of our directors. Indeed, we welcome virtually, thank God, Egbe. We welcome you at the MD of Mr. Crescent. Osa Igihon is the MD of Head Oil and Gas. Here presents the MD of NGC. Nahim, the MD Heritage Energy. John Anim is Acting Managing Director Platform and New Cross JV. As I said, I'm just going to speak through it. So I also want to recognize the presence of the MDs of First EMP, the MDs of FNH, Schneider Electric. Oh, interesting. Interesting. The chairman of Watersmith is here. Good morning, sir. Very good morning. Very good morning. Interesting. Amazing. Okay. So we welcome Ajibola Akindele. He's the MD CEO of Schneider Electric. The group MD, he's not here of Zenith Bank, he's not here, so we'll just skip that. Sahara Group, Henry McKenty, I have done that. We welcome you. Mr. Femi Bajomo, MD, First Hydrocarbon, we welcome you. We, of course, welcome the representative of First EMP. You're the chairman of IPPG, current, sir. Yes. You're welcome. Thank you very much. Welltech Oil Services Limited, Dakwa Adeni, we welcome you. The Hotel, the very supportive Mr. Danny, a very good morning to you. Always good to have you in the SP event. Let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. And of course, the chairman of the Petroleum Technology Association of Nigeria, Mr. Nick Odinue, I'm told you're somewhere in the room this morning. We welcome you. The president of NAPI, Mrs. Patricia Ochobu F. NAPI, I'm told you're also in the room. Presidents of other associations of industry, assistant industry organizations, whom I may not have recognized by name. If you're here, we welcome all of you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, student members, young professionals, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I could go on and on, you know I could, but please, I beg your indulgence to allow me to continue for now on these established protocols. If I have the space, I would recognize some other persons. The future of energy, a trilogy of determinants, climate change, public health, and the global oil market is the theme for this year's SPE Annual International Conference and Exhibition. I'd like to begin by telling a short story. A few months ago, I had the privilege of mastering virtually an event for Latin America. Precisely, it was an event for Suriname in Latin America. Now, we had what we called, as you had a green room here that held the GMD and others before they came in here, we had a virtual green room, and in that virtual green room, we receive all the speakers and the moderators, and then we'll move them into the main event room. That's how we ran that event for the 3 days it lasted. Now, when we got into this session, I was going to be discussing the outlook of oil and gas industry. What would it be? Would there be investments in the future, or would there be no investments? The moderator of that session, a renowned geoscientist, I would withhold his name. If I mention his name, many of you here would know him, made a comment that I was hoping to hear during the main session. He said, listen, people, and he's not Nigerian. He said, the truth of the matter is, if the price of oil touches $100 or above, all of those who are carrying this climate change encourage investors to come down and invest. 1 hour, 30 minutes later, they start through that session waiting for that same comment to be made during the course of that session. It was not made. My question as we begin this year's conference is, should we as a people be bothered much about climate change and abandon our resource that is we're rich with? Should we forget the molecules of gas that can change us and have all of this narrative going? But the truth is, whether we like it or not, is impacting the price. The global health issue is impacting the price of oil. Today, somewhere bordering $78, $80. Now, all of these things will be discussed in the next couple of days. In fact, some of them have been touched when we had our short courses that started since Sunday. So, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, I welcome you to this year's edition of the Naice. And let me begin this event formally by welcoming General Manager and Chief Geoscientist for Total Energies in Nigeria. But most importantly this morning, our Chairman of Council, welcome Engineer Olatunji Akinwumi for his remarks.
Thank you, Richmond. It's a full house, and I'm happy. Good morning. The Group Managing Director, NNPC, Mr. Mele Kolo Kiari, the SP International President, Professor Tom Blasingame, who's with us virtually, the SP Regional Director for Africa, Professor Wumi Iledare, the Chairman, Board of Trustees, SP Nigeria Council, members of SP BOT here present, members of SP Nigeria Council, the academia, media practitioners, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all to the opening ceremony of the SP Nigeria Annual International Conference and Exhibition, Naice 2021, an annual event organized by the Society of Petroleum Engineers Nigeria Council. Every August for the past 45 years, the only exception being last year, we take some time off to connect, to share ideas, as well as technical advancements, and to network with industry stakeholders and policymakers at this, our annual flagship event. The SPE is the foremost professional association for petroleum industry practitioners worldwide, with a membership surpassing 140,000 worldwide across 144 countries. In Nigeria, our membership stands at over 10,000, including our student members, spread across our 5 active sections, located in Lagos, Port Harcourt, Warri, Benin, Abuja, and 35 vibrant student chapters all over the country. Our mission is to collect, to disseminate, and exchange technical knowledge concerning the exploration, development, production of oil and gas resources and related technologies for the public benefit, and to provide opportunities for professionals to enhance their technical and professional competencies. The theme for this year's conference is the future of energy, a trilogy of determinants: climate change, public health, and the global oil market. Without a doubt, the energy landscape is evolving very rapidly, with increasing share of non-petroleum energy sources and new frontiers of energy solutions being explored, especially in the more advanced economies. The future of the demand for oil and gas, and relatedly the supply of energy, are expected to be based on the tripod, as captured in our conference theme. On the first point, climate change are paramount in the energy equation evaluation of governments, institutions, and individuals all over the world. The concerted drive to reduce the carbon intensity from energy production, and indeed several institutions, governments, and companies have already announced net zero emission ambitions by 2050, with an increasing share of renewables in the energy mix of the future. Fixing a target for the end of sales of internal combustion engine passenger vehicles and transitioning towards an overall electrification of the economy. Moving on to the second point. No one could have imagined a health challenge with such dramatic consequences, not only for the energy industry, but for practically every area of human endeavor. The number of mutations of the COVID-19 virus and the sinusoidal nature of the different outbreaks over the past 20 months clearly lead to postulate that the drive to eradicate the virus would be on the front burner for the foreseeable future, and that the energy landscape will certainly have some irreversible effects leading to a new normal. On the third point, how would oil and gas industry remain relevant given the dual challenges that I've just enumerated? We in the Nigerian Council of the SPE believe that it is clearly in the best interest of the oil and gas industry to be in phase with the rest of the world. Significant reduction of carbon intensity of our operations can be achieved by making our operations more efficient, reducing waste, and disabling fugitive emissions, with more focus on transition to gas exploration and development, essentially to replace coal in electricity generation. Also by improving technologies for capture and subsurface storage of carbon dioxide, and having new or novel technologies, as well as digital transformation of our industry, which should help in the direction of reducing emissions and cost, which will render our products more accessible, more competitive, and more acceptable. Furthermore, the technological solutions that have helped to facilitate the exploration, development, and production of petroleum can certainly be adapted for use. With all this in consideration, the 2021 Council leadership of SPE deemed it fit to have in-depth conversations around these subjects, and of course, tie this into the petroleum industry bill that has just been passed by Parliament. We have therefore assembled a set of specific sub-themes to address specific areas as they concern both the industry and our local environment. Later today, we shall be having a topical issues workshop on the burning issue in the industry in Nigeria, the Petroleum Industry Bill. The theme of the workshop is the future of energy, PIB implementation and roadmap to operationalization. And we have invited seasoned professionals for this conversation. It is our expectation that the discussion will reveal a viable implementation roadmap that minimizes bottlenecks and enhances outcomes. Furthermore, immense opportunities are expected to characterize this diversified energy mix economic era. Hence, the discussion on the theme energy sustainability and the oil and gas industry, opportunities and challenges to the young professional at the Young Professionals Workshop, scheduled for later today as well. The conference will also feature 2 panel sessions, the first of which will address the energy security and sustainable development in Nigeria. And in the second panel section, the future of energy, integrating public health into climate change policy and planning, will be discussed in great detail. No industry, and for that matter, no human activity can leave out 50% of its population, the women. As such, and in SP Nigeria Council continuing traditions, the conference day 2 will feature discussions on promoting innovation through diversity and inclusion for energy security as this year's theme of our very successful Women in Leadership program. At the core of the Society of Petroleum Engineers is our continued emphasis on technical excellence, and this is reflected in the technical programs of the conference. Over the next 3 days, a total of 174 top-quality peer-reviewed technical papers will be presented. Also, we have about 40 companies across the MP spectrum, other energy areas, and other non-oil and gas industry service companies who will be exhibiting their latest innovations, technical products, and services. Over the last 2 days, we have also held 8 best-in-class training courses and the Young Professionals Away Day. These are just some of the many activities planned up for this year's event. This year, in respect of government's COVID-19 restrictions, we can only admit a maximum of 500 in-person conference delegates, but we expect well over 1,000 delegates from across the full spectrum of the industry and from across the globe. This rich mix and assemblage of professionals, which provides a veritable networking platform, is by far the most important event. My profound appreciation on behalf of all members of the Council and of all members of SP in Nigeria goes to our invited guest speakers, to our panelists, our facilitators, sponsors, members of the academia, and all other distinguished attendees. And a special thank you to all our sponsors and exhibitors. We thank you all for your continued support of SP. Your support helps SP to fulfill our mission. Please take your time to enjoy all of the programs that are on offer. Take your time to connect, to network, to share, and to learn. Once again, thank you all, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for being an important part of SP and Naice 2021. God bless.
Thank you very much, Engineer Olatunji Akinwumi, Chairman SP Nigerian Council. We will continue with the event. I want to also welcome the Principal and Chief Executive of Petroleum Training Institute in Warri, Dr. Henry Adimula. Adimula, good morning, sir. It's good to have you here. Thank you. Very good morning to you, sir. Very good morning. The academia is a key part for us to achieve what the world is asking for now, the move to cleaner, cheaper fuels. About 6 years ago in Orchid, I think, Orchid Hall and Eco Hotel, we had an event for facility managers. And one of their, in fact, their keynote speaker dialed in from outside of Nigeria virtually. Then it was network is this, wow, is getting better. How much can change within a year? especially the year of COVID. That said, I'm moving on now virtually to my next. Before I get to my next speaker virtually, I would like to take some comments from our sponsors this morning. Let me begin taking the comments from one of our platinum sponsors, an indigenous E&P company that is now becoming a global E&P company, integrated player in this energy business. Welcome, Group Managing Director of Amni Petroleum International Limited. Welcome, Mr. Wale Olafison, as he addresses us, a sponsor. When you clap for my sponsor, I don't take it. I know the platinum sponsor. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I'm going to present a speech. I'm just thank you for coming and welcome me again and just support what my brother Tunji has said. I'd like to welcome all the dignitaries here this morning. They are seniors in the industry. I welcome my brother GMD NMPC and rep of Directorate of DPR and all the dignitaries. Chairman Watersmith and all the rest of them. I welcome you all to this conference. Amni is happy to be part of SP, and we are proud to be sponsors of SP programs. We continue to do this for as long as we're in this industry, and we're not here for a short term, we're not here for a short run, we're here for the long. And we continue to support SP, all SP programs. On behalf of my chairman CEO, I can promise that the opening ceremony for the next SP conference, August next year, will also be supported by Amni. As you all know, Amni was formed in 1993 and we're a foremost indigenous independent oil and gas company. We are a Nigerian company, West African spread, in fact with African spread, and we're excited to inform everyone here that we're also global. We're spread across Port Harcourt in River State, Lagos here. We have a rep office in London. We do some work out of our Eastern office, and we're also spreading to Romania. We're currently in the deep offshore in Ghana, and God helping us also in the oil and gas space in Nigeria. Going further, I'd like to say that this industry we are today is in what I would call double whammy. We haven't seen this before, at least in my lifetime, and I'm 50 plus. But our industry is very strong, we are resilient, and if you just keep focused the way we've been, even the pandemic, I think we'll overturn this corner and we get better and stronger. Let me say something that is topical here, and I've said that before, and I would like most of the panelists today to speak to that space, is no matter what we do in our generation, oil and gas will be relevant. Irrespective of what we say about climate change, about renewable energy, Nigeria is blessed with oil and gas. But the reason why God has put the oil and gas in Nigeria, and we cannot afford to be dissuaded, to be told that, oh, oil and gas will be relevant in 5 years. I'm not a supporter of that concept. I believe this resource will be here throughout my generation of my children for the next 50 years. And we all need to support it. We need to support the various government operators that run this industry. We need to also support our colleagues to make sure that our industry is continually relevant, not just today, the next 10 years, the next 20, and the next 50. We can find something better in future, but coal did not stop because there's no more coal. Coal is slowing down because there are better technology. We find smarter ways to do our business, and we want to do that. I want to thank you all one more time. I want to enjoin you to please enjoy all the facilities presented to you by SPE, enjoy the panels, enjoy the sessions, and let's come together as an industry and formulate a way to take it forward. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Wale Olafison. I thought I heard him say even next year they will. If I told you next MD this event, that applause came from me, I'll be over the moon. But for somebody signing check, telling you categorically next year we will still sign this check. Now for Amni, ladies and gentlemen, let's celebrate them. Okay, so I would really like to know now from my technical crew, is Sam Ezugori or someone from Shell online to speak now? Otherwise, I move on. Can I get that info? If they're not online, because I'm told Shell joined this morning. If they are not there, I move on. Okay, good, fantastic. I just wanted to make the point that we did this. The theme of the conference is our next topic for discourse. And for years, the theme of the conference has been addressed by an international president of the SPE. What blessing it is to always have SPE eyes talk to us at this event. We're moving now virtually to Texas A&M University as we're to be joined by the 2021 SPE International President to address the future of energy, a trilogy of determinants, climate change, public health, and global market. Professor Tom Blasingame. Prof, if you can hear me, as I'm sure you can, the virtual stage and this entire global audience is yours for the next couple of minutes. Confirm you can hear me, sir.
I can hear you. I think we will stay in with no video. Your bandwidth is a little bit low on my end, if that's okay. Can you hear me?
Guys, I can hear the prof. I can't see the prof. I need to hear and see the prof.
Correct, but I think your video is probably not going to support that.
Oh, okay, that's fine. If your video is having issues, but are you sure? Have you turned it on? Is it turned on from your end?
I can't. It's your system. So
okay, now, while you speak, the technical crew will try and sort that out. From what I see here, your video icon is popped on. I don't know.
I see it as well.
But we can hear your voice. Maybe you're looking too handsome this morning, and some of us want to feel intimidated. That's not coming on. But hey, nevertheless, you can go ahead, Prof.
I will.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
It's on your end. It says you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it, but that's fine. The bandwidth doesn't support it, so I'll just start if that's okay.
Please go ahead, Prof. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. As your 2021 SPE president, I sincerely thank the SPE Nigerian Council for inviting me to open the 2021 Naice. It's my personal pleasure and really my professional privilege to open the Nigeria Annual International Conference and Exhibition. I sincerely wish I were there. You've asked me to start my video, so I'll try to do that. As you can see, it's pretty early in the morning here, so forgive any lack of a strong appearance. First and foremost, I'd like to acknowledge and recognize a few of the many dignitaries joining our conference today. Mr. Mele Kiari has already been mentioned, Group Managing Director for NNPC, Professor Wumi Ilidari, the SPE Regional Director for Africa, and I would have to say my brother in arms on many challenging issues for the last couple of years. We've worked together quite closely on the SPE board. Mr. Alex Musa, who is the Chairman of Board of Trustees of SPE Nigeria Council, and then we just heard from Mr. Olatunji Akinwunmi, the Chairman of the SPE Nigeria Council. And I acknowledge these gentlemen because this has been a very challenging year, obviously, and it's if you think it's been challenging for you, I would offer you to be the SPE president. It's been a good year, but it's been definitely full of challenges. I was tasked with an impossible request, and that is to talk about how oil and gas affect the climate and health. So forgive me, I elected to change my remarks more and talk about the future of oil and gas, which some of these speakers have already discussed, but I wanted to make sure that I did touch base with you on that and have that conversation. Some of the things that have already been said are relevant, but I'd like to follow up with my own remarks. I think it's pretty obvious that our industry and our world are in transition. That's been mentioned. We must acknowledge and address the big picture of a sustainable energy-enabled future. As a definition that we use in the oil and gas industry, energy transition really equals the emergence and eventual dominance of renewable resources. As oil and gas companies pivot to energy in response to energy transition, our industry must evolve. Energy transition is motivated by the following: urgent concerns for environmental considerations, of course, climate change, a practical desire to economically capture and utilize renewable energy, that's pretty obvious, and a realistic concern that fossil energy is wasted as a transport fuel, except for aircraft. It was already mentioned that the electrification will occur for transport, or at least for transport with wheels on them. Prior energy transitions have been driven by the demand for and availability of different energy resources. We know that. I'll talk more about that in a moment. However, oil and gas do something unique. They provide energy security. You can call it sustainability if you wish, as well as stable economics. And that was also mentioned a couple of moments ago. We have an industry that provides the most reliable, the most affordable, and the most secure energy in the world. And I think that's relevant. I think we need to remind ourselves of that continuously. To go back and look at past energy transitions, these tell us that the acceleration of new energy resources affects production. I'm sure all of you in the room know that since 1970, total energy production from all sources has increased more than 2% per year. Energy consumption has globally, it has increased on a per person basis. Economic innovation, the economies have become more efficient in terms of their utilization of energy, but they still depend on affordable energy in order to be effective. Societal evolution, access to energy provides better political stability and welfare for people. The future of oil and gas exploration is not driven by supply and demand anymore, at least in the short term, but it's driven by public perception and acceptance. And I would comment that development and exploitation of renewable energy sources will accelerate. This is obvious. Energy transition is not a new challenge, but is now technically and economically feasible. Energy transition is an opportunity for oil and gas to become prioritized as a feedstock more than as a fuel. We need to keep that in mind as well. Even if you were to eliminate oil and gas as a fuel, you'd still be dealing with approximately half of our production for chemical feedstocks. Transition will take time. If we look at the IEA World Energy Outlook, we find that oil will remain the largest energy resource in 2040 at 28% of total energy versus 32% today. And natural gas will be close behind at 25% of total energy versus 23% per day. The question on everyone in this room's mind is, how do we, SBE, stay relevant during or as part of the energy transition? My next remarks will address that. The future of SBE. As oil and natural gas professionals, we must continue to build our technical competence in petroleum engineering and geoscience. We must adapt to an energy future that is dominated eventually by renewables. We must emphasize that petroleum is critical to modern life and will continue to be a driving force in society. We must recognize that sustainability supports both new energy members and existing oil and gas members. We'll talk more about that in a moment. And we must collaborate. This is going to be a big topic, but the current focus on merging SBE and AAPG, and possibly, I'm not saying any others are in the queue, but possibly others, is really a sword and a shield to remain relevant during energy transition. As our industry continues to evolve, we must continue to develop highly skilled multidisciplinary teams of subsurface scientists and engineers. We all know this. We must utilize specialized teams of geoscientists and engineers to engage and facilitate energy transition. As a combined professional society, if this happens, we must utilize the knowledge and abilities of our members to accelerate skills, particularly in CO2 capture, utilization, and storage. This is usually referred to as CCUS. In hydrogen energy technologies, especially in processing and transport of hydrogen. In revolutionary and cost-effective geothermal solutions. It's critical to recognize that geothermal has been in existence for a long time. The present emphasis on it is really as a renewable energy resource, but they still have significant cost prohibitions, particularly in drilling and completing wells. We want to position this new combined organization, if it occurs, as a global source for skills and knowledge management in oil and gas, as well as peripheral energy technologies. We want to help create new opportunities for our members and for the entire industry as a whole. I'll make a comment that as a combined professional society, we will embrace new technologies that will be significant components of the energy transition. We'll cultivate and disseminate technical knowledge in the energy transition, hydrogen, CCUS, as well as geothermal. We will prioritize our public-facing sustainability themes, the so-called Gaia theme, our diversity and inclusion themes, methane reduction, as well as embracing publicly a low-carbon future. We will utilize the depth and breadth of our combined membership to facilitate energy transition. And by the way, I get a lot of flack for saying that we're going to facilitate energy transition. Our goal is to be a leader in this. We have the experience, we have the capability, and frankly, we have the responsibility for that. In closing, I'll mention that the coming years will continue to bring new challenges to our industry. Some can be predicted, some cannot. Oil and gas are staples of the global economy. And as I mentioned, every time I speak, oil and gas are the most affordable, most reliable, and most secure energy resources available. As my final comments, SBE will not forsake oil and gas. Don't worry about that. SBE understands that there are local and regional priorities, and in particular that sections must focus on their constituents. SBE will innovate and evolve to serve member needs. We've been doing that during the pandemic. It will continue as we move forward, whether the merger occurs or not. SBE will transform to facilitate and quite possibly lead the energy transition. That's a bold statement, but I believe it's true. And regardless of the anxiety and the emotion of the moment, society needs what we do. We must engage as a trusted partner with society, focusing on why we do what we do and the value that we provide. This will not be easy in some settings, but focusing on the products, the goods and services, the economic benefits, and the political stability that our resource provides is the best place to start. I thank you again for inviting me to open the 2021 NAICE, and I wish you all an outstanding technical and networking. Thank you again for having me. It is my personal and professional privilege to be here. Thank you.
I'm sure for a lot of the young professionals in the room, your remarks this morning gives them some kind of comfort or assurances, if you like, as to the role they have to play in the future of this energy mix that we're discussing. So we thank you again, Professor Tom Blasingame, SPEI President for 2021. Can we please give him another round of applause? Before we get to the goodwill message for this opening ceremony, it's been confirmed that Shell companies in Nigeria have joined online, and a representative of the managing director and chairman of Shell companies in Nigeria, Mr. Sage Okubo, is online, ready to talk to us now. Mr. Sam Ezugori, if you can hear me, sir, the next few minutes will be a turn as a sponsor to address us. Confirm you can hear me.
I can hear you, Richmond. Can you also confirm you can hear me and see me?
I can hear you, but I can see me. I'm waiting to see you.
Okay. I have a video on.
Don't worry, is the video turned on? Okay, somebody can see you, and like Prof can see you, so
yes,
don't worry. You brilliant, Prof. You go ahead and start speaking, Mr. Zugori. My technical crew would put you on a screen before long. So please go ahead. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Richmond. And let me start by saying that it's a bit of an uphill task to come behind Tom, but I will try my best. The SPE International President, Tom, that just finished speaking, the chair for Nigerian SPE Council, CEOs, delegates, GGM NAPIM, captains of industries, ladies and gentlemen, let me stand on existing protocol and say a very good morning to you all, good afternoon, good evening, trying to honor and respect where you are joining from. I'm also doing this honor on behalf of my own managing director and chairman of share companies in Nigeria, Osage Okumbo, who unavoidably is not able to join us today, and is my singular honor to join you and present his opening remarks. So let me start by congratulating the Nigerian Council of the Society of Petroleum Engineers for pulling off the 2021 edition of the annual conference. I recognize and commend the enormous work, sleepless nights, sacrifices, and a whole lot more that must have been put into making this day a reality. Much as we tried in 2020, most of the industry events had to be cancelled. But I am happy that there is now a ray of hope that we are winning the battle against the pandemic. It is not yet Uhuru, as they say, as the third wave is with us. I therefore encourage everyone to stay safe, observe the necessary safeguards to keep you, your family, and the rest of the world free from COVID-19. But with the pandemic also came some opportunities. The world has changed so dramatically between the last edition of this conference in 2019 and today at a pace that no one ever envisaged. Not even when Shell gave the sponsor's remark in 2019 did we know that the impending change to the way we do things will be a roller coaster that will practically force on us a virtual space, which, if you ask me, is a space we have ignored for too long, even to our own disadvantage. A space that had offered a lot of possibilities, but yet very little explored. But thanks to the challenge posed by the pandemic, which is bringing out the creativity, the ingenuity, and resilience in us today. But that said, I must say that I am indeed very delighted to speak to you today, just as I am very proud of the SPE and our partnership with the association as Shell, as leading professional body that has done so much for the oil and gas industry, particularly in Nigeria, and also for Nigerian nation. I must also recognize and commend the proactivity of SPE by constantly crystallizing the distant horizon to prepare the industry for the future. Perhaps this singular contribution is the key driver of the sustainability of our business and its characteristic resilience in Nigeria, even through boom and bust. To drive home this point about SPE's proactivity, let me recall the conference theme for 2019, Artificial Intelligence, Big Data and Mobile Technology, Changing the Future of the Energy Industry. The future has changed indeed, and the future is here with us. And technology is at the heart of it all. So given the prophetic theme of the yearly conference, we should be wise enough to look beyond the surface of construing and interpreting the SPE Naice theme for 2021. That is, the future of energy, a trilogy of the determinants, climate change, public health, and the global oil market. To the discerning, these three determinants are, as being predicted or foretold by SPE, hold the key to the survival of the not too distant future of energy, where the transition train is already at a very fast lane, not actually leaving the station, but has left the station. And fossil fuel is battling for survival and relevance. Environmental, social, and governance criteria are playing more critical role in determining the destination of investment in energy, just as socially conscious investors are now warier than ever before about their investment decisions, particularly where fossil fuel is concerned. In Shell, we have always strived to stay ahead, which is why our strategy is constantly rejigged in line with evolving realities. As you probably know, we launched our new strategy of powering progress early in the year, and our focus encapsulates the SPE conference theme. Let me start with the first pillar of the SPE trilogy, climate change. Tackling climate change is an urgent challenge. At Shell, our strategy is to contribute to a net zero world where the society stops adding to the total amount of greenhouse gas emissions in the atmosphere. That is why we have set a target to become a net zero emission energy business by 2050, in step with the society and our customers. This supports the more ambitious goal to tackle climate change laid out in the UN Paris Agreement to limit the rise in the in the average global temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Becoming a net zero emission energy company and business means that we are reducing our emissions from our operations and from the fuels and the other energy products that we sell to our customers. It also means capturing and storing any remaining emissions using technology or balancing them with offsets. On public health, our environmental ambition includes protecting and enhancing biodiversity, the plant and animal life that is vital for the planet. We also focus on using water and other resources more efficiently across all our activities, reusing as much as possible, and this can only do so much in the society. And that is the least that we can also do to support public health from the foundation, much more than the numerous intervention programs that we deploy to support health and medical infrastructure across Nigeria. On the global oil market, we announced our quarter 2 results only last Thursday, where our CEO talked about how, despite the challenging times, we are delivering on our powering progress strategy, as our operations and our supply chains and our people have also shown immense resilience and have continuously delivered safe operations, robust business performances, and unmatched cash flows. The uncertain oil market notwithstanding, while we recognize that volatility in the global oil market and demand recovery might still continue for some time, we are very confident that with our strengthened strategy, we will weather the storm. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, working with SPE and other critical stakeholders continues to bring value to Nigeria, and that remains our priority, and that is powering progress. And in conclusion, let me also once again congratulate the SPE Nigeria Council on the occasion of the 2021 annual conference and exhibitions. Let me also express our support as Shell to members of the SPE and our own staff who are also members of SPE that will continue to play leading roles in the activities of the Nigerian Council of the Association. I wish all the delegates and participants a very fruitful conference. Thank you very much. On behalf of Osage Okumbo, Sam Ezugori. Back to you, Richmond.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sam Ezugori, representing the chairman Shell companies in Nigeria, Mr. Osage Okumbo, speaking to us as part of the sponsors ceremony. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, moving on now to the only goodwill message we would have before our industry address, and thereafter we'll close this opening ceremony and proceed to the exhibitions. Before I do that, there is a partner of SPE Council in the room I want to again appreciate, and that is because of the enormous sacrifice him and his colleagues have made to ensure that this year's event happened. I recognized him earlier, but I felt the need to appreciate him on behalf of the SPE one more time. I'm talking about Danny, the GM of Eco Hotel. Danny, thank you so much. I hear the good thing you did for this year's event. Please give me a round of applause. We appreciate you. By your action, you've told us Eco Hotel is open for business, and I'm sure the industry is listening. Thank you very much. Thank you, Danny. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, onwards now to a goodwill message and remarks from one of our special guests. Welcome, Deputy Managing Director, Deepwater Total Energies, Nigeria. Welcome, Mr. Victor Bandele, as he addresses us.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will want to stand on existing protocols, but it's difficult to do that when I see the GMD seated right in front of me. I need to acknowledge our Managing Director of NPC for his leadership. Thank you so much for what you are doing in this industry. We really appreciate your contribution and the momentum that you are bringing into the industry. It's really welcome. Thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to this year's Nigerian Annual International Conference and Exhibition of the Society of Petroleum Engineers, the Nigerian Council. Total Energies, and I repeat, Total Energies, proud to be associated with the SP conference and the exhibition. Our company has been in Africa for more than 80 years and has been involved in activities in Nigeria for 65 years. We have a broad and diversified portfolio in Nigeria with operations in the upstream and the midstream and in the downstream sectors of the oil and gas industry. Our activity spans offshore, onshore, deep water, with LNG, and in the downstream where we operate about 507 filling stations across the nation. We are indeed committed to a lasting partnership with Nigeria. The SPE conference is the oil and gas industry in Nigeria, and little wonder it attracts so many industry leaders, policymakers, researchers, investors, and many others. One of the key benefits of the conference is the opportunity it gives us all to come together as professionals and actors in the industry to network, share experiences, perspectives, and concerns about the oil and gas industry. It is also a forum to share and learn from stakeholders in our industry. It is therefore our honor, a big honor for us to be one of the sponsors of this very important conference and exhibition. And I here say also, just like my brother said earlier, the sponsorship we carry on in the past years, we will continue to sustain it in the future. The theme of this year, the future of energy, a trilogy of determinants, climate change, public health, and oil market innovation is quite timely and very, very relevant. The COVID-19 pandemic, which hit the world in 2020, has refined a lot of parameters as we have always known them. Things have changed, and there is no against speaking. It is the truth that we have evolved as a people, as a world, in fact. The pandemic has proven that we are able to increase and improve our efficiency. If we look at ourselves today, we are holding this conference under different circumstances compared to 2019. The pandemic also showed or exposed the fragility of the public health infrastructure of countries all over the world. It's not only the developed world, but in every area, there's no country that have not seen an impact of the pandemic. So the relationship between climate change and public health is clear enough, and that's why our industry must address the concerns over our contribution to climate change. The production and use of energy contributes to greenhouse gas emissions. It's a fact. Therefore, meeting the climate challenge will mean embarking on energy transition in the future. We need to transform the way we produce and the way we use energy. Total Energies believe that the climate change is a reality and requires the collective mobilization of society. And when I say society, I mean it's not only our industry, it's the global, in the global sense. The 2015 Paris Agreement generated a groundswell of awareness of the climate emergency. The target recommendation by the experts is a carbon neutrality society by 2050. This is a demanding goal that we must all collectively commit to. Now, since 2015, TotalEnergies have steered a determined course to new energies, in line with our ambition to provide energy that is reliable, affordable, and clean. This means that the future of energy is changing, and if we must be relevant in the energy market of the future, then we must continue to adapt. Together with society, we are adapting to a world-class energy transition, the target of net zero carbon emission by 2050. So for this decade, when we say this decade between 2020 and 2030, TotalEnergies and our company production and sales mix will be evolving such that by 2030, 50% of our energy mix will be in gas, 5% in oil and liquid biofuels, and 15% electricity. I use these statistics to just guide us in kind of transition to 2009. And by 2050, the mix will change 40% in renewable power, 40% gas, and 20% in liquids. I know the question will be, that is TotalEnergies globally. What are we doing in Nigeria? So TotalEnergies in Nigeria is committed to align with the national aspirations of Nigeria. And in that way, we want to support Nigeria, support the industry in Nigeria to maximize our gas resources moving forward, and to contribute all that we need to do in supporting the industry to increase the efficiency of our gas mix going forward. And that's why we came with all the emphasis on gas, supporting Train 7, which Shell is leading, and LNG is the key player. We support this effect to a large aspect. And Jimmy is here, you know that we signed all that to be signed, and the project is on course. The third leg of the trilogy is global oil market innovation, which I believe will fuel the energy mix of the world. We are a service industry which must adapt the principles of strategic customer relationship and management in meeting the energy needs of our world's sustainability. There is no other industry, emphasis, there is no other industry better positioned than ours to lead the crusade to cleaner energy and carbon neutrality. We have technology, we have the capability, and more importantly, we have the people. When I look at this room and I see the quantum of professionals that are seated here, I have a lot of confidence that we can do that. So we must use all this to achieve the market innovation, which strikes in meeting the needs of growing world population in a sustainable manner without degrading the public health situation of our people. Before I sign off, let me commend the SPE for its resilience and innovativeness, which has been demonstrated in the past 20 months. Our industry survived, not only because of our technological competencies, but because of our motivation and our desire to make things work at all times. In Nigeria, the members of SPE have contributed in no small means in sustaining the energy up till today. Thank you very much, SP. In signing off, I look across the room and I see how we have responded, everyone wearing a mask. I plead that we carry the awareness even outside of here and really encourage the society to align with the vaccination program that the Nigerian government put together. It is one way of at least reducing the effect of the pandemic. Thank you so much. I wish all of us fruitful celebration and gains taking from this event. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you very much. Mr. Victor Bandel is the Deputy Managing Director for Total Energies, talking to us on what the company has been doing and the company's unflinching commitment in supporting the aspirations of the Nigerian government as it concerns the maximum utilization of our gas resources. Can we please give him another round of applause? Your Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, due to a meeting that required the attention of two of our speakers to this opening ceremony, those two speakers, two of our guests will be joining us tomorrow during plenary for tomorrow. So we will not be having those two speakers tomorrow. The director of the TR, His Excellency Chief Timothy, will join us. Moving on now to our very next and concluding remarks from this opening ceremony. Before I do that, let me welcome the Managing Director and PDC to this event, Ensemble. Thank you for being here. To an engineer or fashion designer, the word "a" would just naturally be for measurements, but to our next speaker, it is simply transparency, accountability, and performance excellence, an idea he brought to play since assumption of office at our national oil company, making it one of the most profitable in the lifetime of the national oil company. So join me this time to welcome our industry address speaker at Naice 2021, the Managing Director of the NNPC, Mr. Mele F. Nabi. Yes, I see I'm at top. The call is too quiet. Just stand for 1 minute. Everybody has been sitting for a while. It's good for health. Thank you very much. I think I understand. So, thank you, Chairman SP Nigeria Council, for inviting me to this conference. The opportunity to say a few words. Because you recognize Professor Bumi was here, and like the international president here. Thank you very much for being here also. And everybody else, please accept my deepest regards and appreciation for being here. Obviously, the theme of this is the future of energy, a trilogy, climate change, public health, and global oil market, has aptly captured the values of ourselves and businesses in the industry.
Thanking you for bringing this conversation to the forefront is the least anyone can do. But this conference actually recognizes the realities that we're facing in our industry today. And I'll come to that. We all know suppress global economic growth globally. And of course, we all will agree that it brought the industry into its knees at a point in time. Today, countries are gradually overcoming the pandemic shocks. Economies are being reopened again. Oil demand is rising and prices have gone up to pre-pandemic levels, averaging over $74 per barrel currently. We are seeing an increase in rig counts. I'm sure SP will be in the best position to know this. Across major oil territories, not everywhere, but surely we are seeing increasing rig counts across our business territories. However, the imperatives of energy transition and the influence of activist investors are changing global energy investment, making oil and gas companies diversify their portfolio to low carbon investments. Currently, industry conversations are dominated by shift to renewable energy as a source of clean and climate-friendly fuels. And I hear Victor clearly, all forecasts in every major offshore company is doing exactly what Total Energy is doing, so that by 2050, you are low on liquids. But that's matter for another day, because there are a number of different situations that are people differently. And I've seen very well estimates that say relevant. That means the year 2050 is still the beginning of this conversation. Our country is resource dependent, particularly on fossil fuel. The global transition to fossil fuel sources of energy will mean declining revenues for us, foreign exchange issues for us, and pointing of projects, particularly in context of green finance and activist investor actions on the boards of major oil companies and global financial institutions. I'm sure very many of us who have watched a number of conversations in the recent past have seen what green economy looks like and how much influence it has in our businesses. However, looking at both climate and population change dynamics, anticipated economic growth, and rising global population, especially in Asia and Africa, will obviously increase energy consumption energy sources can meet by 2050. Building on this convergence, Nigeria as a key player in global energy security is addressing its challenges, mainly fiscal, security, and cost competitiveness to stimulate investment in the oil and gas industry. You may be aware, I think we all know, that the petroleum industry bill has been passed by the National Assembly. The bill essentially is a gas bill, and I must say this, because we recognize as a country that we have enormous gas resources, we haven't focused on it, we haven't done enough, we have always looked for oil, and therefore we need to do something strategic and necessarily now to grow the monetization of gas, deepen gas consumption in our countries so that it becomes a transition fuel for us. Says that gas hasn't peaked. If oil will peak in 10 years' time, gas won't peak until probably another 20 years' time. So we know for sure that the direction to go is to develop our gas resources. And therefore, the PIB has significant provisions for gas development and monetization, and particularly deepening gas consumption within our country. This company belongs to the 200 million Nigerians and will lead this initiative to address this and other issues associated with this energy transition conversation. As the PIB has been fast, we have moved our focus to improving security architecture through collaboration with major stakeholders. Our initiative, which is simply to bring down and be more efficient, by being more efficient, more collaborative. And ultimately, we do pool resourcing through some pooling mechanism so that we do not duplicate what others have done, but yet we leverage on the opportunities that are on ground. We're working with our partners, the operating companies, our service contractors, to challenge cost of operation and increase profitability and growth in the Nigerian oil and gas sector. This is in the best interest of all of us so that this industry can survive. On the other side, we are seeing a whole wave of divestments by major international oil companies operating in our country. NNPC, as their major partner, cannot stop partners from divesting their interests. We can't do this. Of course, we all have the right to divest, change our portfolios, we migrate our portfolio. Everybody does something about its business, depending on its circumstances. And we all do the same thing too. We in NNPC, I'm happy Engineer Mansur Sambo is here. Our upstream company, NPDC, will soon be the largest upstream in the country. Currently, in terms of assets, is the biggest upstream company, and we'll do a catch-up so that even when it comes to production of both oil and gas, we'll be the #1 upstream company owned by all of us seated here. So the investments creates challenges for us in ensuring that we get right and competent investors to take position and add value to our assets. We'll engage all our partners to ensure that while the rights of divestment are protected by the partner, that there should be no situation where those changes will become the Waterloo of our industry. And therefore, NSPC will ensure Nigeria's national strategic interest is safeguarded by developing a comprehensive divestment framework that will provide clear guidance and criteria for divestment by partners of interest, because we have a vested interest in these businesses. Going forward, we will make clear distinction between divestment of shares and operatorship agreements, under which various joint operating agreements will be governed. We'll leverage on our preemption, as well as evaluating the operational competence and track record of new partners. We are the ones dealing with every other divestment outcome that has produced new operators for our businesses. And this must be clearly sorted out in the next steps that we're going to take with our partners. And in order to sustain a prosperous business environment, post-divestment will pay particular attention to abandonment and relinquishment costs. This we know the industry hasn't done well. The severance of operational staff. As we disengage from businesses, we cannot disengage from the world. And of course, there are always the clear third-party contract liabilities, which are never factored when investment engagements take place. This must be put on the burning, in front of the burning table. And of course, and no one, without of any doubt, none of our partners will leave us with incompetent buyers. And that's why the JOA is very clear on what you're not going to leave us with anyone that will not do what should be done. And post-purchase, technical, operational, and financial capabilities, especially in the era of activist investors that we are all aware of and the sentiments that it carries against funding of fossil fuel, must be put on the table so that we have a clear line of sight that we are not walking away, we are creating new opportunities. That assurance must be put on the table. And more importantly, everything we are doing must align with the wider national interest. And therefore, NMPC being the representative of all of us, and of course, a very potential global player, this is our ambition, we're getting there, and I can tell you, within the next month or two max, we will publish our audited financial statement of accounts for 2020. And I can also confirm to you that for the first time in our history, we'll declare dividend to the Nigerian people. And therefore, will play a key role in the global transition to low carbon energy in the near future. Our tremendous natural gas reserve has become our greatest enabler to smooth transition to low carbon. I have mentioned this and I'll re-emphasize that gas will be our vehicle for our transition. We are deepening natural gas utilization under the National Gas Expansion Program to earn more carbon credits and create a net zero carbon environment in line with our drive becoming energy company of global excellence. This fits into the realities of today, but it also recognizes the opportunities of today and the ones that are going to come in the next 20, 30 years. Currently, we're extending our natural gas infrastructure backbone by completing the OB3 line and also delivering the AKK pipeline. This combination of these two will deliver at least 8 billion scoop of gas into the domestic market and ultimately deepen domestic gas utilization, support industrial growth, wealth by creating the opportunities, the gas-based industrial amenities that can happen, and obviously create jobs and employment opportunities for our teeming population. And the net result is that it will have a very dramatic impact on the social equation of our country. Our goal is to take right quantities of gas to every part of Nigeria at the right price, of the right quality, and of course of the quantity that the consumers will need. And obviously, NMPC leveraging technology to achieve better systems and processes optimization to support performance, accountability, and value creation that exceeds the simple business needs. Can I give you an example? We rallied the industry around during the COVID-19 to have a BCP process. One of us can work and act and deliver on value, despite all the challenges of mobility about that time. Today, I can tell you, as just an evidence of that reality, that every documentation on the purview of the CEO of NMPC are electronic. So I don't see any hard copy document. we remain committed to working in position today's industry is very necessary and unavoidable. I will collaborate with our partners and also for future partners because many are coming on board. But as you do this, recognize that you're coming to a very, very industry. That here we will be accountable to our shareholders, we'll be transparent to them, and that they will expect value from all of us. Cost is no longer business, cost cannot be business, and we'll stop this. So that ultimately, all the businesses will benefit from it. And this culture of business will vanish. And finally, I hope I didn't create any much tension here. Finally, you've heard Wale has said that he's going to sponsor next year's event. Victor mentioned the same thing. What they didn't tell you is the NMPC will pay for it. Thank you very much.
I knew that was coming. NMPC is truly paying for it. All our senior day partners. Amazing, amazing, amazing. My goodness. When you asked the last question, I hope I've not caused any tension here. Somebody echoed a lot. I don't know how a lot that is, but you've made very valid points. I mean, telling us what is on the front burner with the NMPC, what is to be done, where the industry should be headed. That's why it's called an industry address, GMD. And you have guided and pointed that arrow of where the industry is going and where the burning issues are. Can we please give him another round of applause? During the Nigeria International Petroleum Summit, the distinguished Senator Basi appreciate our last speaker role he and the NMPC management and indeed the NMPC played in the passage of the PIB. He used the word patriotic. He said they were patriotic as compared to what being operational before. And listening to the GMD, you cannot but agree with the distinguished Senator Basi Akpan, who heads the Committee on Upstream. Please, one more time for the GMD, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are going to it's there somewhere though, don't worry. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close the opening ceremony. But remember, I said that tomorrow, His Excellency the Honorable Minister will be joining us for the plenary, and of course, the director of the DPR. But for now, I want everyone to please take a look at the badge you're wearing. What does it say? Speaker, VIP, delegate, participant. What does it say? You know what it says, right? That brings me to my next point, which is, please, because of the need to observe the protocols, this VIP tour of exhibition now is strictly for VIPs. So everyone has looked at their badge for VIPs and those with a rosette. So either you have a VIP tag or you have a rosette. Now, every other distinguished participant to this event, you are kindly required to remain seated as they leave after the national anthem. Once they leave, I will make appropriate announcement as to where you will be headed as the VIP tour of the exhibition is going on. Now, once they are done with the VIP exhibition, once we are done, because I need to leave that as well, with the VIP, then every delegate can get in the exhibition floor. Now, this is not a person set who's going to anybody, is just to observe protocol. So thank you so much for understanding. Now, once that is done with, lunch will be served at 12. If you look at your time, it's sometime before 12. At lunch, I will tell you where lunch will be served for the distinguished delegates. For the VIPs, you will be led after the exhibition tour to where you would have lunch. I believe is the Red Restaurant, somewhere upstairs from the convention center. Then at 1 p.m., we'll return here to the world of topical issues and listen to an industry address. Now, what is the most burning issue in our industry today? We will discuss that with a panel of experts in the topical issues workshop that commences at 1 p.m. in this hall. So please, at 1 p.m., ensure you come into the hall. By the way, the first delegate who enters this hall by 1 p.m. or before 1 p.m. will get an MC's gift. What that is, you never can tell. The GMD is my mentor, my boss. So once I give you something, and GMD is smiling, be rest assured, it can be anything. So be better come on time. That's the point I'm making. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this opening ceremony. Now please rise for the national anthem, and please, after the national anthem, remain seated. If your badge does not say VIP or you don't have a rosette, the VIPs will be exiting from this hall, and you will be led by the exhibition team and myself through the exhibition floor. The national anthem. Richmond Osuji is my name. I'll see you at 1 p.m. But for now, VIPs and those who have rosettes, you can please proceed. Okay, so I'm told VIP, your lunch is at 14, Aris, is at 1415 restaurant at the Signature, not Red. Okay, so once it's 12 p.m., once it's noon, in a few minutes time, I think it's about, what now? 9 or 19 minutes. You can proceed to Orchid and Iris. So you can proceed to Orchid and Iris, distinguished delegates, and have your lunch. And lunch now, by the time you're done with lunch, the VIP tour should be over. So you can proceed if you want to go to the exhibition hall, right? So once you're done with lunch, you come back here for the TIW, the Topical Issues Workshop. So once it's 12, please, you can proceed on to have your lunch at the Iris and Orchid Hall. Thank you very much. I'll see you shortly. Thank you.